Davy. I'm awesome. And welcome to Davy's Awesome Wrestling, where I review wrestling-related things, all from the perspective of a fan, not an insider. So this last weekend, to celebrate 20 years of Impact Wrestling, which I will admit, didn't think would happen, was Impact's anniversary show, Slammiversary. Let's get into it. The opening match, which I will say I was a little surprised they would use this as an opener, but okay. The Ultimate X match for the X Division Championship, between former champion Trey Miguel, Kenny King, Alex Zane, Mike Bailey, champion Ace Austin, and filling in for Jack Evans, who was originally supposed to be in the match, but could not because of injury, last-minute replacement, Andrew Everett. I gotta say, even though I was surprised that this would be an opener, it was a great way to start the show. I mean, it's Ultimate X, so it was what we expected. Chaos from start to finish. Lots of flashy high spots, like a Tower of Doom, and an Avalanche Canadian Destroyer. And of course, as we know, the drama of trying to get the belt. For those of you who are not familiar, Ultimate X is kind of like a ladder match where the belt is hung over the ring, but instead of climbing a ladder to get to the belt, it's suspended above the ring by two ropes crisscrossing. You have to basically get up to the top turnbuckle and use those ropes to climb over to the belt. And of course, as they're doing this, there's always somebody fighting each other off while suspended in the air. So, again, it's kind of exciting. Until the eventual winner and new X Division champion, Mike Bailey. Like I said, it's Ultimate X. It's usually an exciting match. Easily we'll give this one a 4 out of 5. Yeah! Then to say congratulations, we got a message from Sting, who came in and talked about how his entrance into TNA wrestling was supposed to be a one-off, but ended up being something he did for quite a while. Former NWA champion in TNA, former TNA champion himself. He had quite the career in TNA. Then for the Knockouts Tag Team Championships, Rosemary and Taya Valkyrie challenged the Influence, Madison Rayne, and Tennille Dashwood. It was pretty good. Plenty of back and forth. A little dysfunction on the team of Rosemary and Taya, as we would expect, former rivals. But they were able to pull it together enough for Rosemary to get the pin on Rayne and crowning new Knockouts Tag Team Champions. And considering that these two had such a memorable rivalry a few years ago, it's going to be very interesting to see them as a tag team. But for now, I'll have to give this match a good 3 out of 5. Yeah! Then a message of congratulations by Kurt Angle, who at this point we can say spent slightly more than half of his career in TNA. Then a match that guarantees
there will be blood.
The Monsters Ball match between Moose and Sami Callihan. Now, Monsters Ball is always a good match, of course. It's a hardcore weapons match. The only thing that makes it different than a normal hardcore weapons match is the stipulation that they isolate both competitors by themselves in the dark for 24 hours, no food or water or rest or anything. So basically, I guess that brings out the monster in them. You could definitely tell they were hungry as Moose took one of the fans' hot dogs and had a bite. But like I said, as expected, brutal match. Brought out all kinds of weapons, barbed wire door, barbed wire bat, thumbtacks, tables, what have you. And it actually took 3 Cactus Piledriver 97s on Moose for Sami Callihan to get the win. Obviously, like I said, great match, brutal, can't deny it. 5 out of 5. Yeah! Then for the Impact Tag Team Championships, former champions, the Good Brothers, take on current champions, the Briscoes. It was a good match, although not much of the team dynamic was in this. I mean, they were there, they got a couple of tags and everything, but the majority of the match was Carl Anderson versus Mark Briscoe. However, like I said, the match did have some teamwork. It's not like Jay Briscoe and Luke Gallows did nothing. Especially Jay Briscoe, because it was after they got a magic killer on him that the Good Brothers became 3-time Impact Tag Team Champions. But again, this match, the Briscoes versus the Good Brothers, there's no way this could do less than a 4 out of 5. Yeah! Then after the match, for a little nostalgia's sake, out came one of the most popular tag teams from the beginning of TNA, America's Most Wanted came out. Not to challenge for titles or anything, they just came out to have a drink with 2 great tag teams. Then, instead of a message from another former TNA staple, they did a tribute to the original commentating team, Mike Tenay and Don West. Then the 10-man tag team of Honor No More members, Eddie Edwards, Mike Bennett, Matt Taven, PCO, and Vinny, versus the TNA Originals, the Motor City Machine Guns, Frankie Kazarian, and Nick Aldis. However, the Originals had not unveiled who their final member was going to be until this match. And to unveil who the final entrant was going to be, they got former TNA president and owner of TNA, Dixie Carter, to come out and announce who it was going to be. So after she gave a few words of appreciation for what Impact is now, she unveiled the TNA Original, former tag team partner of Eddie Edwards, Davy frickin' Richards! I was very excited because I'm a huge fan of Davy Richards. And this match was not only awesome, but it was very nostalgic for everybody who's been watching for about the whole 20 years. Wouldn't say I've been watching that long, but been watching for quite a while. Of Of course, it had cool moves in it, like when Davy Richards had 2 guys in submission holds at the same time. But it even had Frankie Kazarian's wife, Tracy Brooks, who was the original Knockout, come out and do a nice little clothesline to Maria Kanellis. Honor No More, remember, Kenny King came out and tried to help his team. And that got stopped by D'Lo, who hit the lowdown on him. Wasn't his best lowdown, but hey, at his age, the fact that he can still do it, hey. This match was a car crash from the beginning. It was just pure chaos the entire time. And we honestly didn't know which way it was going to go. Were they going to give it to the originals for nostalgia's sake, or were they going to give it to the Honor No More for like a new school feel? Well, after Chris Sabin got a cradle shock on PCO, that got answered as the originals won the match. And for just a little bit more nostalgia's sake, it was Earl Hebner that came in and made the count. This match, I would honestly say, is probably the match of the night. Definitely give it a 5 out of 5. Yeah! And then the last congratulations message tonight was from AJ Styles, who even thanked WWE for allowing him to do this. Because even though things didn't end great for him in TNA, can't deny how instrumental TNA was for his career. It's what made him a name that eventually got him to WWE in the first place. So, it was nice. Then the one match I was actually not excited for. Because I've gone on record in previous videos before to talk about that I don't like this match at all. This gimmick match of the King of the Mountain, of course in this case, Queen of the Mountain, where the rules are wrestlers that start ineligible to win. In order to be eligible to win, they have to get a pin or submission on one of the competitors in the match. If you are pinned or submitted, you go into the penalty box for 2 minutes. If you get pinned, you're not ineligible anymore, and if you are eligible already, you can still pin people just to get them in the penalty box. And then to win the match, once you're eligible, you have to get a hold of the belt, climb up the ladder, and hook it onto the hook. I know. It's confusing. It's also confusing when you watch it. This Queen of the Mountain match, though, even had a special guest enforcer of Mickie James. The participants, Deonna Purrazzo, Chelsea Green, Jordynne Grace, Mia Yim, and champion Tasha Steelz. The other thing they made a stipulation on this was you had to be a former champion to be in the match. Now, I was kind of hoping because of the participants in this match, because they're all great, that it was going to be good. But then I had to remember that in every other King of the Mountain match I had seen before, didn't matter how good the competitors were, the match itself is still a train wreck, and not in a good way. The first one that was eligible was Chelsea Green by pinning Tasha Steelz. The second eligible was Mia Yim by pinning Chelsea Green. Third eligible was Deonna Purrazzo by submitting Tasha Steelz. And then Jordynne Grace and Tasha Steelz both became eligible by pinning Mia Yim at the same time. And then after to end the match, Grace got a pin on Steelz so that she would have to go into the penalty box with Mia Yim. Chelsea Green and Deonna Purrazzo were on the outside hurt, and she was able to climb up and hook the Knockouts Championship onto the hook, making Jordynne Grace the new Knockouts Champion. With this match, it had great competitors. Every woman in this match I've raved about before. It had a cool finish and everything. It's just, the match itself is so confusing. You get lost. You're like, wait a minute, this person's eligible, that person's not eligible. What's going on? Like I said, I've talked about it before. The King of the Mountain match is a stupid match. So really, just with the bad kind of chaos and confusion, I could really only give this one a 2 out of 5. Yeah! Then the main event for the Impact World Championship. Violent by Design's Eric Young challenged champion Josh Alexander. As would be expected, this match was very good. It's Eric Young, it's Josh Alexander. Of course, it was going to be very, very good. What I liked about this match the most was all the great tribute stuff in it. Like, even Josh Alexander's wrestling tights had tributes on it to Kurt Angle, AJ Styles, and Samoa Joe. Not to mention the moveset he was doing all night. Doing some of AJ Styles' moves, Samoa Joe's moves, Kurt Angle's moves, Christopher Daniels' moves. He did the best moonsault ever. Not to mention Eric Young doing some tribute moves to Jeff Jarrett, like doing the figure 4 leg lock or a guitar shot. And like he had done on a previous episode of Impact, Eric Young, of course, took up the canvas and exposed the wood planks underneath the mat and did a pile driver onto Alexander onto the wood, yet Alexander was able to kick out. It actually ended when Josh Alexander did the C4 spike to Eric Young onto the wooden planks, being the only champion to retain tonight and giving this match a 4 out of 5. Yeah! So Impact Slammiversary 2022 overall was a really good show. It was very entertaining. It had great matches, it had great drama. Of course, of all the championships defended that night, only one didn't exchange hands, which is also always exciting. And of course, all the tribute and nostalgia from the past 20 years of Impact Wrestling, all the way back to when it was TNA, NWA. The only real criticism I had of the night was the Queen of the Mountain match. The King of the Mountain was a gimmick match that I was hoping They were just going to let die. It was a very stupid gimmick match. I'm sorry to say it, but I've never been entertained by King of the Mountain and now Queen of the Mountain. In my opinion, gimmick matches need to be simple. Like a cage match is simple. Surround the ring with a cage, climb out, or get a pin or submission in the ring. Simple. A ladder match, simple. Get a ladder, climb up, grab the belt. Hell in a Cell, we're going to put a big, huge cage around the ring, get a pin within there. When matches get overcomplicated, they're not that entertaining. And I'm not just bashing TNA for this, because Lord knows WWE has had plenty of overly complicated bad gimmick matches themselves. Ugh. And again, I get they wanted to bring in some stuff for nostalgia's sake, but should have left that one alone. But other than that, it was really good. And honestly, the nostalgia factor, Slammiversary being their 20th year, honestly, I didn't think they'd make it 20 years either. During their NWA days, it was okay. I ordered one of those weekly pay-per-views with a buddy and never ordered another one again because wasn't worth it. When they got on Spike TV, okay, it was worth watching. Times it got really good, like when they had Christian Cage and the Main Event Mafia and all that. Then there were times it got really, really bad, like unwatchable bad, i.e. the Hogan-Bischoff era. But then even after Hogan and Bischoff had left, it still went through a few eras where stuff was just so bad and so unwatchable that I'm surprised that they made it through those. But they made it through, and the current state of Impact Wrestling is pretty good. They've got their stride, they have their niche, and they are improving. Not everything they touch is gold, but it's pretty good. And I'm glad that they're still around, because honestly, the more product out there, the better for the wrestling fans. So congratulations to Impact Wrestling that you're still around, and congratulations on your pay-per-view that I would give a 4 out of 5. Yeah! So there you have it. That's my wrestling review this week. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and if you did, make sure to hit like, hit subscribe, hit that little bell so you get notifications when I post new videos, and leave a comment. Tell me what you thought of Slammiversary 2022. Tell me whether or not you're surprised that Impact Wrestling is still around. Love you guys.